The global automotive landscape is currently navigating a period of unprecedented structural transformation that could redefine North American trade. Recent strategic indicators suggest a significant shift in how Canada manages its vital auto part exports to the United States. This move appears to be part of a broader economic realignment aimed at strengthening industrial ties with Mexico and Spain. Experts suggest that diversifying manufacturing hubs is becoming a priority to mitigate the risks of over-reliance on a single market. Mexico has rapidly evolved into a global powerhouse for vehicle assembly due to its competitive labor costs and advanced logistics. Meanwhile, Spain is positioning itself as a primary gateway for European electric vehicle technology and sustainable manufacturing practices. For decades, the integrated supply chain between Canada and the US has been the gold standard for industrial cooperation. However, shifting geopolitical priorities are forcing a reevaluation of these traditional routes to ensure long-term domestic economic security. The American Auto Alley relies heavily on a seamless flow of components across the northern border to maintain production. Any significant disruption or redirection of these parts could lead to a fundamental restructuring of how cars are built in North America. This is not a sudden withdrawal, but rather a calculated pivot toward emerging markets that offer higher growth potential. Canada's investment in Mexican infrastructure reflects a desire to capitalize on the near-shoring trend currently sweeping the globe. By engaging more deeply with Spain, Canada gains strategic access to the European Union's rigorous green energy standards and research. This dual-track strategy allows for a balanced approach to manufacturing that spans 3 different continents simultaneously. Some industry analysts worry that such moves could strain the existing framework of the USMCA trade agreement between neighbors. If the flow of parts slows down, the resulting price increases could impact consumers from Toronto all the way to Texas. Yet, proponents of this shift argue that the global economy is no longer a localized game of proximity. They believe that agility and diverse partnerships are the only ways to survive in an era of rapid technological disruption. The focus is increasingly shifting toward the high-value components required for the next generation of autonomous and electric vehicles. Controlling the production and distribution of these specific parts is the new frontier of national economic power. This video is based on ongoing research and available industry data. Its purpose is to provide an analytical overview and does not support or oppose any specific political or corporate position. The United States has traditionally viewed the northern border as a guaranteed corridor for the raw materials and parts needed for its heavy industry. However, Canada's recent maneuvers suggest a newfound desire to act as an independent broker in the global race for resource dominance. Mexico provides the scale and efficiency required for mass-market components, while Spain offers a sophisticated environment for high-tech research and development. This realignment forces a conversation about whether regional loyalty still holds value in a world governed by digital supply chains and global margins. The potential halt of specific auto parts is a high-stakes chess move that impacts thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in annual trade revenue. If Canadian parts are redirected to Mexican plants, the assembly of vehicles becomes more cost-effective for global corporations, even if it creates local friction. This strategy highlights a growing trend where nations prioritize their own industrial resilience over maintaining historical status quos with their neighbors. The result is a complex web of production where a single vehicle might contain components from 4 different countries before it ever hits the road. We must also look at the environmental mandates that are pushing manufacturers toward regions with more aggressive green energy policies and incentives. Spain's commitment to a carbon-neutral industrial base makes it an attractive partner for Canada's burgeoning clean technology and mineral sectors. Meanwhile, Mexico's expanding free trade agreements provide a unique launchpad for products to reach both the North and South American markets with ease. It is a transition driven by the cold logic of efficiency and the urgent need to adapt to a rapidly changing climate and regulatory landscape. The human element of this shift cannot be ignored as workers in traditional manufacturing hubs face a future of significant uncertainty and change. As the industry moves towards software-defined vehicles, the physical location of a factory becomes less important than the quality of the technology it houses. Canada is betting that by diversifying into Mexico and Spain, it can secure a seat at the table where the future of mobility is being decided. It is a transformation that replaces the old assembly line with a global network of specialized innovation centers and high-efficiency hubs. The American response to these changing dynamics will ultimately determine the stability of the entire North American automotive ecosystem for the next generation. If the U.S. adjusts its own trade policies to better align with these new global realities, we may see a more integrated, though different, partnership. However, if protectionist tendencies increase, the push toward Mexico and Spain could accelerate, leaving the old manufacturing corridors to find entirely new purposes. The world is watching as these 3 nations navigate the thin line between competition and cooperation in a very volatile market. In the end, the success of this redirection will be measured by the sustainability and affordability of the vehicles produced under this new model. If the collaboration with Spain and Mexico leads to faster innovation and lower costs, the market will eventually embrace this new industrial map. The transition is undeniably painful for those rooted in the old ways, but it represents the inevitable evolution of global commerce. We are witnessing the dawn of a tri-continental manufacturing era, where the strongest links are those that span the greatest distances. Which country do you believe will become the most dominant force in electric vehicle manufacturing by the end of this decade?